Hey, good morning, guys. What is up? This is Derek from Bomb Socks. Good to have you with us for episode 8 of BOM-BITES, which again is where we here at Bomb Socks help you feast upon the words of Christ, one bite at a time. So it's good to have you with us. Hope everybody is staying both safe and sane during this crazy time right here. And we're grateful that we can hopefully provide something that'll help you during this crazy, crazy time that we're living through. So we are going to continue with the olive tree allegory. And yesterday we took 9 minutes and went through like 4 verses, so I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit today. So one of the things I think that is so important to understand about the olive tree allegory is there's 77 verses here, and it is very, very easy to get lost in the depth and the breadth of this allegory. It's a cool allegory. Again, you get caught up with digging, dugging, pruning, and grafting, and that whole thing that we talked about yesterday, which I loved, shared it with my family last night. One of the cool things about these is we actually do these same things as a family. It's kind of weird, but I show them to my own kids right there, and we sit and watch Dad, so it's kind of cool. So anyway, so what I wanted to focus on today is I want to go all the way back to the title page of the Book of Mormon, because as you understand the message of the Book of Mormon, the olive tree allegory, I think makes more sense as well. And again, we can get into all of the details of the various groups and the time periods that take place throughout the olive tree allegory, because this is a time period where it talks about the house of Israel during Old Testament, New Testament, during Book of Mormon times with the Nephites and the Lamanites, and then it gets to our day. And we'll talk maybe a little bit more about our day tomorrow. But what I want to focus on today is the title page of the Book of Mormon. If you go all the way back to the title page, which again is something we don't always study, but it is awesome because it says one thing that I think is so cool for all of us, for anybody who sins on a regular basis, which I believe would be all of us. And if you're sitting there going, I'm not a sinner. Yeah, you're lying, and that makes you a sinner. So welcome. Okay, so what we've got is the very first page says, which is to show unto a remnant of the house of Israel that they are not cast off forever. Because again, if Israel is scattered and they made bad choices, the Book of Mormon shows you that they are not cast off forever. So I want to take just a few minutes and show you some incredible verses. And I'm just going to read these verses off to you, and you'll get the feel of these verses right here. Because I will tell you this much, the Lord of the vineyard, again, that's Jesus Christ, how he feels about his trees. So starting in verse number 7, it says, and I'm just going to read this right from my scriptures. Came to pass that the master of the vineyard saw it. He saw all of this, the decaying tree. And he said, it grieveth me that I should lose this tree. The Lord of the vineyard weeps when he sees his tree decaying. You go down to verse number 11. Verse number 11, here it is again. It grieveth me that I should lose this tree, which is why he digs and prunes and nourishes this tree. You go down to verse number 13 at the very end. For it grieveth me that I should lose this tree and the fruit thereof. You go all the way down to verse number 32. Again, a different time period, but the same great Lord of the vineyard. At the end, it grieveth me that I should lose this tree. You go down to verse number 41. I hope you're noticing a pattern here. Verse 41. Any parent, by the way, who has a child who is struggling or has fallen away, came to pass, the Lord of the vineyard wept and said unto the servant, what could I have done more for my vineyard? What wonderful parent does not think that when they see their children making bad choices? What could I have done more? You go down to verse 46 at the very end. It grieveth me that I should lose this tree. Start of verse 47. But what could I have done more in my vineyard? You go down to verses 49 to 51, which are so good. Came to pass, the Lord of the vineyard said unto the servant, let us go to, and hew down the trees of my vineyard, cast them into the fire, that they shall not cumber the ground of my vineyard. For I have done all. What could I have done more for my vineyard? There are times where the Lord reboots the hard drive. You look at the flood and other times like that there. He's like, I love my trees so much that, you know what? Let's start over with some things here. Verse 50, but behold, the servant said unto the Lord of the vineyard, I love this, spare it a little longer. And verse 51, the Lord said, yea, I will spare it a little longer. for it grieveth me that I should lose the trees of my vineyard. I hope you get the idea of how the Lord of the vineyard feels about the trees. Again, reminding you the trees are us. And again, when you think, and there are so many, I was trying to find a good quote where prophets or apostles talk about how the Lord feels about us. There were too many. Seriously, I'm going, there's one from Elder Holland, there's one from Elder Uchtdorf, there's one from there's one from President Nelson, there's one from Elder Oaks, and you're going through there, and bottom line, the Lord of the vineyard loves the trees even more than we do. And so if you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh my word, I've disappointed the Lord. There's no way. He's sitting there shaking his head, going, "Come on, Derek, why we've done this so many times." I promise you, I absolutely promise you, the Lord is not doing that. He is not there sitting there shaking his head, going, "Oh my word, what?" He loves you. He is mindful of you. He weeps for you. He cares for you, and will do anything he can to help the trees in his vineyard. And I love that. And so this parable has nothing to do with trees. It has everything to do with us, and it has everything to do with love. It has everything to do with patience, and everything to do with compassion, because the Lord of the vineyard does not want to lose his trees. And so, when you think about that loved one of yours that I talked about on the very first one on Monday, loved one who you don't think ever will have interest in the church, the Lord of the vineyard has even more interest in that person coming into the fold than you do. And he will do everything he can. He will honor their agency as he does it. I know that. I know that to be absolutely true. But he loves them, and he'll do everything he can to help them out. And then comes tomorrow's message, where he utilizes others to help his trees. I hope you teach that to your families. Hope you teach that to yourself. Thanks, guys. You have a lovely day, and stay safe, stay sane, and remember, God's in charge. Have a good day. Bye-bye.